Hey ladies and gentlemen, 49 coming at you with another community shoutcast for the OUSA Dota League Season 1. I'm going to be joined by Yoshi from Team Blink. We're just loading into game number 2 right now of 4 Horsemen of Ruckus up against Team TYK, Tom Young Kun, boys from Thailand. How you doing, Yoshi?
I'm back.
How was dinner?
You need to wear headphones, bro.
Sorry?
How was your dinner?
I just you from your phone.
I can hear snow in the background.
Yeah, hold up. Huh?
You need to wear headphones.
Oh,
From your phone.
oh, don't watch on my screen.
Alrighty, so we're just waiting for everyone to load on in.
Is there echo?
Yeah, you definitely need to wear headphones, bro.
Yeah.
Team ban.
So just moving in right now, 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus leading with the first ban. Yoshi's just fixing up his mic settings on his end. I think he's off to grab headphones, there's no echo. kin.killa played a fantastic Viper in the last game, used it to count as an excellent counter pick up against that Ember Spirit, just because of the fact that Ember Spirit relies on his ult to be able to escape bad situations, and his ult is dependent on his movement speed, so that Viper Strike as well as that poison attack is able to snare him, cripple his movement, really shut down his escape abilities, and also able to dominate and bully him in the lane, as Ember Spirit has only 1 base armor, so even if he does pick up that Stealth Shield, Nethertoxin Harass with poison attack from Viper proved to be way too strong.
10 seconds remaining.
Tom Young Kun, we'll see if they...
Viper is really strong against Inland.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's just the fact that he's got nowhere to respond against them. I mean, other melee heroes up against Viper, they at least have some kind of long range spell they can use to get creeps. Ember Spirit has nothing, he's just got that Slate of Fist, does half damage against creeps as well. First man Slug and Clockwork once again. I mean, Flash mentioned these are 2 of the 3 really strong heroes at the moment. He's a Clockwork, Slug, as well as Ember Spirit, are just 3 very strong heroes people don't like to play against. And Respect ban with that Brewmaster again.
Team ban.
kin.killa respecting TYK's Pandy, who plays a fantastic Brewmaster. What would you like to see as that secondary ban from TYK there, Yoshi?
I'm not entirely sure. If they want to pick
10
Ember,
seconds remaining.
I think they should ban Ember because they're second pick actually. I don't think Ember's a
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, well, do you think they might want to give...
copy the Viper counter.
Yeah, they might decide to do that as well, because I mean, kin.killa, he loves Ember Spirit. He's a very strong Ember Spirit player, so he could, if they bait him into picking Ember Spirit, they could go for that second pickup with that Viper, try to counter him. So we never know. I mean, that's 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus showing off the fact that they're not afraid of that Ember Spirit pickup. And TYK are deliberating, they're dipping into their reserve time. They're sitting there debating to themselves, do we want to give away the Ember Spirit and pick up Viper, or do we just want to ban that Ember Spirit right now and be done with it? It does mean that they open up the draft for heroes such as Invoker, which haven't been banned. Not too sure if kin.killa plays Invoker, but I know Dumbledore, their carry player, definitely plays an excellent Invoker, so they could even switch up the roles. Have kin.killa go as that tri-lane farmer, have Dumbledore go mid as that Invoker, or I mean, for all I know, kin.killa could play Invoker. He's a very versatile player, likes to play those aggressive early game heroes.
I think from memory, kin.killa's top hero on his profile was Invoker, so...
Oh wow, well there you go. He's got about 3,000 hours in the game, so I figure he's probably learned to play about every single hero. And there we go, that second ban for that Invoker. So now it's that mind game. Do you want to pick up that Ember Spirit? Never mind. They decide to go for Mirana. I'm just going to sign out of Steam, just so I don't get messages from my flatmate. Jamie, he's actually playing in the living room right now. I'm sitting in this room just to remove any possibility of stream cheating. And they've gone for that Mirana pickup. UGTFO played an absolutely fantastic Mirana in that last game, was able to provide covering fire with that arrow. And wow, Visage and Naix Assassin. Visage the king of the tri-lane, and Naix Assassin, that hero you guys hate to play against. What are your thoughts on those two?
The Visage is a strong pick if they can play it well. The Naix is an annoying hero to deal with. I think the Mirana first pick is really strong because I think TYK, they're not really so onto it on seeing the sentries around for the detection. Like, I was watching the last game, the top team fight at the top tier 2, the hits of detection there, you know, could have gone the other way, but...
Yep. Definitely. Mirana offers so much since she could go into every single lane. She provides a huge amount of magical burst damage in the tri-lane with that arrow, with that double Starstorm. Not only that, her Moonlight Shadow is like a free global invisibility spell. Throw it out on your entire team, can help get people out of a sticky situation, can enable you to initiate like they did when they grouped up 3 times using that Moonlight Shadow to get in position, jump at 1 or 2 key heroes, kill them off before the fight even begins, and then run down the remaining heroes as they attempt to flee. And we've got that Lifestealer pickup. Very strong, aggressive tri-lane hero with that open wound. Means we'll most likely be seeing Mirana as that off-lane hero. However, we could see a roaming Mirana like we saw in the last game. Third ban on that Weaver. Great ban, especially against that Lifestealer. Just because of that Sakuchi, you can use that to kite that Lifestealer around. What do you reckon the third ban will be from Tom Yum-kun?
Hard to say here. I think kin.killa's hero hasn't been picked yet, and kin.killa actually likes to run Death Prophet a lot in the scrims with us, so I don't know.
Yeah, he's a huge fan of Death Prophet. He likes to go for that early Yules, just likes to throw out those Crypt Swarms, use Yule Scepter once you have your Exorcism out, give yourself 2.5 extra seconds, just rain havoc, and utilize that high speed, high aggression coming out from that Death Prophet. Do you reckon the Naix Assassin will be off-laning in the 1v1 situation, or do you think he'll be that tri-lane with that Visage?
He should. I think Naix Assassin's ideal position for the off-lane, because they don't really, like, you can't use a Visage slow as a, you can use Visage slow as a setup, I guess, for the next stun, but it's not 100. The Impale is not 100% reliable.
Yeah.
Seconds remaining.
That's true, and we've got a fourth ban Timbersaw and a third ban Centaur Warrunner. That could be a bit of a respect ban to that prowess of that Stampede, especially in conjunction with Moonlight Shadow. Not only is the enemy team invisible, they're now moving at max movement speed. Terrifying thing to be up against. Centaur Warrunner also can function in the offlane very well. We've seen this a lot more in the recent few games I've casted. Provides a lot of power, especially with that Stomp and that Double Edge. Can easily burst heroes down if they caught a position. And it's difficult to go on just because he's so damn tanky, and once he has that ult, you can just sprint on out of there. TYK really dipping into their reserve time. They've only got about 20 seconds left. That deliberation over for that secondary ban might hurt them later on in the draft, as they're now a bit strapped for time. What do you reckon their fourth ban will be? Queen of Pain. Okay, I haven't really seen a Queen of Pain ban in a very long time.
I think that's a really odd ban.
Yeah, it could have been a bit of a panic ban just because they have such little time. They've only got 15 seconds of reserve time left.
Fuck TYK!
And that's Jamie just doing a bit of smack talking and sprinting into his room. That's his contribution to this cast. So for the third pick, I would like to see... Oh wow, we've got a Lone Druid. I know in their series against Bambi Rising, they always respect ban that Lone Druid. So now we'll be able to see perhaps why Lone Druid is respect banned. Has fallen out of favor a lot ever since with the last few patches, all the nerfs that he's been hit with. Especially with the fact that if you do kill his bear, and as teams get better at dealing with him, all you have to do is kill the bear, and he's effectively useless. Not only that, Armlet no longer works on the bear, and Maelstrom is the only effective mid-game pickup, and it reduces your chance to entangle, so that means that his only real big item if he wants to carry is that Radiance. What are your thoughts on the Lone Druid there, Yoshi?
I think he's really fallen out with Armlet. I think if he's played really well, he's still a strong flicker, you know, he still breaks towers pretty close, so
yep.
We'll see how well it works out. I think he also counters Lifestealer pretty well with Entangle.
Yeah, that's definitely true, but the only issue with Lone Druid is he can't really go for kill attempts until he's level 5, and then it's basically just praying to the RNG gods that you get a lull tangle proc, and you just follow up with a kill. Death Prophet, so there you go, you're right on the money, kin.killa going for that Death Prophet. He loves that hero, that amount of blitzkrieg, high mobility, high damage, can take all your towers, can take everything, and can get a huge amount of farm to the lane, just because Crypt Swarm is such a strong lane control spell, low cooldown, low mana cost, especially with a few points up in Witchcraft, and help you dominate the lane. What heroes do you reckon could go toe-to-toe with that Death Prophet and win the mid lane?
Well, if they pick Ember here, there would be a much more favorable matchup than
10
last game.
seconds remaining.
I guess with that Flame Guard, you can mitigate a lot of damage.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah.
And so it looks like a Luna tri-lane. So Luna, Visage, and Naix Assassin. Although Naix Assassin can go into the mid lane as well, so there's always that option. Lone Druid will be in the off lane. He can't function at all in the tri-lane. He's okay in mid, but he wants that. The longer the lane is, the better it is for him, especially if he goes for kill attempts. It gives him more time to leash the creep wave back, more time to get that lull tangle hidden if his bear's beating on them. And for...
That would be actually a good matchup at mid.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, that actually wouldn't be too bad. You got the mana burn to help control the Death Prophet. You got the Carapace every time she throws out her Crypt Swarm. And once you hit level 6, you can start rotating around the map, punishing the support heroes over in 4 Horsemen, the Ruckus, and Lion. Great pickup, especially with that Lifestealer. We saw the power of that Lion in that last game. That 2.5 second level 1 Hex proved to be a hell of a big deal, especially with that Ancient Apparition Cold Feet to follow up with it. Not only that, you have that Finger of Death, just to provide that extra amount of burst power to kill off a key hero.
10 seconds remaining.
Do you think it'd be wise for 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus to go to clash try against TYK, keeping in mind that TYK have both the Luna as well as the Visage, so they have that high amount of magical damage coming out, that Soul Assumption and Lucent Beam?
Reserve time.
Or do you think it'd be better if they decide to skip tri lanes?
10 seconds remaining.
You should almost never aggressive try lane against the Visage. I think Visage is really strong in that
Dire
situation.
team ban.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's been nerfed for the last 5-6 patches, and he's still a top tier hero. Still is the undisputed king of the tri-lane, just because if you focus him, then the Luna and the Naix Assassin will be able to deal damage unmitigated and kill off whoever you go on.
10 seconds
If you don't focus the Visage, you'll be able to get off that Soul Assumption, use that to pick off fleeing heroes. 5th ban on the Bane Elemental. Bit interesting considering that they already have picked up the Lion, and the Mirana could be a support hero, but I guess the main reason for the Bane Elemental ban is if you have that off-lane Mirana, you have that sleep into arrow combination. Since Mirana, they've Horsemen of the Ruckus have shown that they could use him in the off-lane, as well as a roaming support hero, and we've got that Viper pickup. So it looks like Viper up against Death Prophet. They're going to decide to give 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus the taste of their own medicine. kin.killa will be up against the hero he played last time. And for their 5th pickup, they're going to be wanting to pick up a secondary support hero, or potentially an off-lane, and have that Mirana playing, once again playing a support roaming role. But we'll see what they decide to do. They've actually banned out Tinker, because Tinker's March of the Machines and missile spam can help shut down the Death Ball push coming out from the Radiant
10
side.
seconds remaining.
Who would you like to see as a 5th pickup for 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus there, Yoshi?
5 seconds remaining.
Probably Ancient Apparition, but you know, no.
Reserve time.
I think the Viper pickup is really strong. It's Lifestealer. Just
Yeah, because his ult goes through Lifestealer's Rage, helps snare him, helps them kite him around. Lifestealer might be a bit of a bad pickup in this case, because you have both the Lone Druid as well as the Viper to control him around. Luna moves faster than the Lifestealer, so she could also kite him. And for the 5th pickup, we might actually see an Ancient Apparition. I know Gats on 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus, he does play a pretty good AA. That's something they haven't really tried out in the team setting yet, but they might look to throw out the old pocket strat. AA with Lion is a great combination. You've got the excellent amount of lockdown coming out from Lion with his Hex and Impale. Huge amount of magical damage coming out from Ancient Apparition with that Chilling Touch, especially on 2 ranged heroes. Helps set up Lifestealer for that open wounds into Rage, start beating on people.
5 seconds remaining.
And Venomancer as their 5th pickup. So it looks like Lifestealer, Lion, and Venomancer. kin.killa over the mid lane with that Death Prophet, and Mirana as that off lane on UGTFO. What are your thoughts on that Venomancer pickup there, Yoshi?
I actually don't really like it, but we'll see how it works out. Because the Venomancer doesn't have a slow, which I kind of don't like. I mean, it doesn't have a stun, sorry.
Prepare
It's slow
for
only.
battle.
But
I guess...
It's
What
strong
the-
against a bear, maybe.
Yeah, that's definitely what I was thinking, because you could use that Gale on the bear if you use it to leash the creeps back and start beating on the bear, doing a lot of free damage on him. I guess with that Lion pickup, they know they have plenty of CC with that Impale as well as Hex, so I guess they just want that setup snare, because Gale's got a pretty long range. 80% snare if you do manage to hit them with it. Really good way. Sorry, I think it's like 60%. Oh, Smoke Gang coming out from TYK, deciding to put out a bit of early aggression. Just going to quickly introduce their players. Kuka Pang, Luna this time, he was Lion in the last game. Valerie was the Ember Spirit in the last game, now he's playing as the support player Visage. Pandy over on the Lone Druid plays a fantastic Brewmaster. Golfrey, their offlane player over in the Naix Assassin. And Mickey Mouse, who was, I believe, the Ancient Apparition in the last game, playing the Viper. Over on the side of the Dire, we've got kin.killa, their captain, over on that Death Prophet, as well as their mid player. Gats, support player, over on that Venomancer. Rafikus or Jamie over on the Lion. Dumblebee, their carry position player. And UGTFO, that offlane Mirana. And here we go, game's about to begin. Viper sitting over in the mid lane. Who would you favor in the mid matchup? kin.killa's on Death Prophet or Viper?
It comes down to how they play, but it also comes down to how the Viper levels his skills. I think he should max the corrosive skin first. But whether he'll actually do that, we'll have to see. He also, because of that smoking, he hasn't blocked the creep. So
yeah, so kin.killa's already got a significant lead. He's able to control the creep equilibrium. And yeah, I'm definitely with you on that corrosive skin, just because every time he throws out that Crypt Swarm, if he clips the Viper, he's also going to take a bit of harassment himself. Helps reduce the amount of magic damage he's taking. It means that if supports do rotate into gank against them, they're going to constantly take that dot damage. Makes it a lot harder to kill. He only needs 1 point up in poison attack right now. Sending out 1 for 1. Viper doing a pretty good job so far. Visage holding onto a skill point, chooses to go for that Grave Chill up against that Mirana.
There's a gank.
Gank over in the middle lane.
Level 1 gank.
Level 1 gank. Wow, was that Gale into Impale? And right clicks with the Crypt Swarm. Great rotation coming out from Horsemen of Ruckus. They're really enjoying that early aggression. We saw that before. Viper's biggest weakness is the fact that he doesn't actually have any kind of defensive spells besides that corrosive skin. He's not fast enough to be able to move out. He doesn't have a blink or a leap or anything along those lines. All he can do is just rely on dealing damage and hoping to kill them before they kill him. A 1v1 situation that works fine. And a 3v1, not all too much you can do. And Lone Druid's wisely backing out before he gets called out by another Gale from Gats. Actually, no, he's too far behind now. He should be fine. Uses the bear to do a bit of the damage. Lion taking a little bit of the damage there, forced to throw out that Gale. Gale actually misses. Oh no, never mind, Eclipse the hero. And Dumbledy off to a great start, getting a lot of fun. We see he's starting with that stout shield. Wow, Visage took a lot of damage in the bottom lane. Did you see what happened there? Did he perhaps eat an arrow to the face, or?
I'm not too sure.
And he dies to the neutral. Not really too sure what happened there. Maybe he decided to use it. Yeah.
Go home faster.
Save a trip back to the base. Since it's got a pretty low respawn time. Yeah, that sounds like about right. Looks like he might be going to the top lane to give Lone Druid a bit of support. Do you reckon that's a smart rotation coming out from TYK, or do you think it's better just to have the Lone Druid on his own?
I think maybe he should have stayed at bot and kept pulling to get experience. I don't think they can get a kill on the Mirana, so maybe that's why he's rotating.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean,
the safety one.
And we see a gank attack happening right now. Lion's coming in. He's going to follow up with the Impale. He doesn't have his Hex, unfortunately. Open Wounds thrown out. Grave Shield thrown out on the line, taking a lot of damage. Lone Druid's caught up in Gale with that Rage being hit. Visage doing a bit of body blocks, but he's going to go down to one last right click from Dumbledy. Visage takes a lot of damage from one right click from Lifestealer. Lifestealer is also a great counter pick against that Lone Druid, just because with that feast, every time he hits that Lone Druid, he gets a lot of HP back. Can use that to help control the lane. And in terms of the mid lane, kin.killa actually is winning against that Viper. Viper's at 4 for 4, up against kin.killa's 10 for 3. I guess that early gank really did shut him down. Gives him that level advantage. Kin.killa's chosen to go 1 point up in that silence instead of maxing out that Witchcraft. What are your thoughts of that 1 point silence early on at level 4?
I think it's maybe not that great a choice against Viper, but usually it's pretty important.
Yeah, because I know a lot of Death Prophet players, they like to completely disregard it, go for the extra point in Witchcraft just because it reduces the cooldown as well as the mana cost on that Crypt Swarm. It means you can throw out a few more Crypt Swarms, means you also move faster. And they're finally deciding to switch that tri-lane top. Luna's rotate as well as that Visage. And Naix Assassin's got that TP scroll, so he's going to rotate as well. Looks like they're just going to have Mirana up against that Lone Druid. Mirana has that level advantage and is choosing once again to max out that arrow. Who would you give the advantage? Oh, over in the top lane, called out by that Impale, called out by the Hex. But they're not going to dive this. Not too sure why the Hex was thrown out there. A bit of a waste. But who would you give the advantage in the 1v1 situation? The Lone Druid or the Mirana?
I think Lone Druid, once he hits 5, he will actually be able to push the Mirana out of lane.
Yeah, just with that Entangle. That's definitely true. Facebook's picked up on Lifestealer. Choosing to go for that really aggressive build. The last few Lifestealers I've seen played so far in the ODL have gone for really stupid things such as Quelling Blades, such as Treads, such as maxing out Feast, but it's good to see Dumbledy. He's keeping it old school, he's keeping it the way professional players play it. Going for that phase, choosing to max out that Open Wounds. Never mind, he's gone for that secondary point in Feast, I take it all back. Dumbledy, what the hell are you doing, you noob? I'll be sure to flame him once I'm out of this game. I'm a good personal friend of mine.
You kind of need to max Rage first.
Yeah, against Visage you want to max Rage. It's just so you don't get caught up with the sheer amount of...
And later on you need the extra range on Open Wound as well. This should be the last thing you do.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 1% extra you get from every point of it, so it doesn't scale all too well. Just because, I mean, you could skill it later on in the game, it does just as good as it does if you skill up in the early game. Over the top, gank attack happening, Rage, Open Wounds, Visage goes down. Lucent Beam might fly out from Luna, and never mind, he's too fast. Gonna turn around and Gats instead. Impale misses, almost hit Gats. Gats is able to escape on out. Lifesteal is able to eat a tree and pop herself.
Look at mid.
Oh shit, huge dive happening in the middle lane. kin.killa going balls to the wall, up against that Viper. He's out of mana, he's gone way too far, he's gonna die. That's that power of that Corrosive Skin. He's actually maxing out Corrosive Skin. kin.killa actually even calling out on old chat. He knows he went a little bit too far. Great player, but can be a little bit too aggressive. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I guess in that case, he underestimated that power of that Corrosive Skin. Didn't have enough mana throughout that. Yeah. I know Queen of Pain fell out of favor. just because of that corrosive skin on Viper.
The attack speed on the corrosive skin, the attack
Dire's middle
speed slow.
tower
You
is
kind
all
of get
alone in
enough
the
right
world,
click in that
being
engagement.
attacked.
Oh, wow. That is crazy. And Bear now has low tangle, so UGTFO has to be very careful. He's gone for that secondary point up in Starstorm. We'll see if he chooses to max out arrow again like he did in the last game. He's actually called up by it right now. You gotta leap on home, buddy. What are you doing? Throws out that arrow. Walks on back. And with that Orb of Venom, taking a lot of damage. Over in the top lane. Luna's not doing too well. Dumbledore, we'll see what item he chooses to go for. He could go for that drum. I know Dumbledore likes to go phase drums on a lot of heroes. Go for that early aggression. Quick pause thrown out. And just going to do a quick golden EXP check in terms of EXP. It's actually pretty even. I guess even with the kill lead, it's still pretty even. I suppose the fact that they've been giving their heroes a lot more solo EXP and a lot of dual lane EXP in a tri-lane situation has helped out. But in terms of gold, 2,000 lead in favor of Horsemen of the Ruckus. I mean, Lion's sitting at about level 3. He's got 1 point up in all his skills. Gats choosing to max out that Gale with that secondary point. What are your thoughts on maxing out Gale?
I don't actually like that. You should probably, if you want the damage, I think Poison Sting's probably the better one to next.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, usually for Venomancer, sorry, I see them either max out Poison Sting or max out the Ward, never the Gale. So, a bit interesting having that secondary point. I guess it does give you that 30 damage, extra damage over time, but beyond that, we see kin.killa right now, throws out that Swarm, takes about 70 damage worth of harassment just from that corrosive skin. Viper is a very strong hero, just because, Open Wound's thrown out on the Visage, he throws out the Grape Chill, Rages pop, Hexes pop, Gale goes out, Impale, and looks like, never mind, with that stick charge he might live. Dumbledore takes a lot of damage, eats that Lucent Beam to the face, just barely survives. Great reaction from that Visage, recognizing that he had those Magic 1 charges. He's going to survive through that Gale damage. And that's that power of the Visage. He's able to use Grave Chill. Surprise, Lifesteal didn't pop Rage immediately. I guess he wanted to wait until he was under tower, just to maximize the amount of damage that he mitigates from that Luna if she decided to throw out that Lucent Beam. UGTFO choosing once again to max out that arrow. He has been pretty on point with his arrow so far, so I guess it's justifiable, but usually you like to see the Starstorm maxed out. What are your thoughts on that, Yoshi?
I think it's a pretty odd choice. I think the Starstorm definitely is better. About the the missed kill at top just now, I'm certain if Dumbledore had maxed out the Rage, he would have got that kill.
Yeah, definitely. That extra attack speed would have made a significant difference. We see a rotation coming onto the bottom lane with that Moonlight Shadow. UGTFO leading the way. He wants to get that arrow in, but with that Lone Druid Bear hanging out front, it's a bit like threading a needle
Radiant's middle tower is under
through
attack.
threading it.
Gonna hold.
Gale misses, unfortunately. Mana Drain, not too sure what the Mana Drain's there for. He wanted Mana for that Hex. He gets that Hex out. Double Starstorm. Misses, hits on the Creep instead. Great body blocking coming up from UGTFO. Unfortunately, he's caught up by that Loltang. He might actually go down to the Bear unless they're able to kill off Lone Druid before they do. Gats goes a little bit too close, takes the tower hits. Unfortunately, that Gale missed. That turned to be the critical factor. And wow, kin.killa runs in with the Crypt Swarm. He has a haste run. He lands it. Viper chasing him down. He doesn't have Viper Strike, but with that haste run, he should be fine. This is that hyper aggression coming out from Horsemen of the Ruckus. They really don't like sitting in their lane farming passively. They like to run on out. They like to kill things. It's just Dumbledore hanging out the top lane getting some CS. But even then, he's almost picked up his drums. Once he picks up drums, he's going to go crazy. Choosing to max out Feast, I'm really not liking this. That extra point of Rage can make a huge difference, as well as those points up in open wounds. But hey, what do you know? He's doing pretty decent so far in terms of CS. Luna's picked up Treads. I've noticed that a lot of Luna players nowadays like to actually go for phase drums. What are your thoughts on Treads v phase over on Luna?
I definitely think Treads is better.
Mm-hmm.
Because Luna's already fast without phase, and
right.
he really needs attack reach. He hits quite slow without the Treads.
Mm-hmm.
The Dire's top tower is doing its best.
That's definitely true.
Good.
Bit unfortunate they had to invest so much just to kill that Lone Druid. But Pandy being harassed a bit out of lane. He's got that Gloves of Haste, so I'm thinking he's going to go for that Maelstrom build, unless he decides to go for a Hand of Midas. But most likely we'll be seeing a Maelstrom. What are your thoughts on Maelstrom on Lone Druid?
I actually think he's going for Midas.
Yeah, Midas could be a...
Maelstrom, he would have bought his boots first.
I see. Yeah, that's definitely a good observation there. So if he goes for that Midas, most likely we'll be going for that Radiance. That's the big drawback with Lone Druid, is he's kind of pigeonholed into building that Radiance. It means he's not that effective until he gets it. If they get a few more kills and if they could delay that Radiance, really hinders their effectiveness. Double damage run over in the top lane. Naix Assassin's gonna grab it. Gats had just moved out of lane. Bit unfortunate. And drums picked up by Dumbledy over on that Naix. We see the support players for Horsemen the Ruckus hanging around. Not really achieving all too much at the moment, but they're probably looking to go for another rotation soon. Cuckoo Pang does have his Eclipse up, so Dumbledy might regret only having 1 point up in Rage, especially if he eats that full duration of the Eclipse. And Visage Familiars are up, so they're doing a bit of scouting. Actually going to spot out that line. He's only level 4.
Smoke here. Look, Naix and Viper smoke here.
Yep. Naix Assassin with that double damage rune, as well as Viper with his ultimate up. One of the big drawbacks with Venomancer is that level 1 ward does go down very quickly. Oh god. And Lion looks like he's going to face check. Never mind, he's choosing to back on out. Gats catches out Naix Assassin, but he's going to get called out in return by the Viper. Moonlight Shadow's thrown out. Impale, Eclipse, and the Lucent Beam brings down Lion almost instantly. Gats is wisely choosing to back on out. He's got that secondary point up in Sting, only using 1 point up in the Poison Wards just to provide a little bit of vision. Great awareness from UGTFO, throwing out the ultimate to save his teammates. It could have gone a lot worse, but nonetheless, it's 4 heroes rotating in the top lane.
That the Radiant supports are not holding Dust or Sentries.
Yeah.
Be holding that against Mirana. Here we go. The next assistant just bought some, but
Definitely. When you're up against Mirana, you have to know that. And there you go. That's that Midas pickup over on the offlane Lone Druid. Death Prophet used that her ult in the meantime to take down the middle tower. This is why Death Prophet's so frustrating to play against. If you don't gank her, if you happen to leave the lane to go for a rune or go for a gank, she'll instantly take your tower. It's always a trade with her. That's the reason why she's so powerful. However, the biggest drawback is the fact that when her ult's down, she can't do all too much. I mean, if she has enough mana to sustain it, she could throw out a Crypt Swarm every 4 seconds. We've got that Yield Scepter picked up on Death Prophet. kin.killa, he loves his Yield Scepter on Death Prophet. It gives him everything he needs. More movement speed, mana regeneration, as well as a 2.5 second invulnerability Cyclone. You use to purge off silences, as well as to keep yourself alive with your focus while your exorcism's up. Top lane, Infest gank coming out from Naix, not too successful. Did he use that just to regen, or was that an attempt at a gank?
I think it was just to regen.
Oh, okay. And so Lion taking is at very low HP. He should be very careful right now. To familiar scout him out, they could actually go for a solo kill. He should probably back on home. kin.killa picks up the illusion rune. He's heading over to the bottom lane. They need to start taking towers and depriving the Lone Druid of space to farm. Lone Druid's hanging around. He's just picked up his boots right now. Bear's going to get spelled out by kin.killa. Could go for a kill attempt on the Bear. Arrows thrown out. Yeah, there we go. That's the Bear going down. Great kill, especially the fact that the Bear now gives 300 gold. It's worth more than the Lone Druid itself. Lone Druid still has the Bear summon off cooldown, so he should be fine. He's going to summon his Bear. He should summon it now, just so that he doesn't waste the cooldown duration. There we go. If they kill his Bear again, he's now useless for 2 minutes. So a gank attempt on Lone Druid is absolutely imperative right now. Looks like they're grouping up for a push. Exorcism is thrown out. They don't know that there are actually 3 heroes from the Radiant side hanging around. So this could be a bit dangerous.
The Radiant's bottom tower has seen better days.
Scanning out with illusions, and Exorcism, yeah, he's backing out. kin.killa knows something's up. It's a bit too quiet. Viper's going to go for that Aghanim Scepter rush once again. Throws out that Viper Strike over in kin.killa. Impale hits him, but caught in a bit of an awkward position. Viper actually goes too far forwards, caught up by the arrow. Dies to the Crypt Swarm, as well as the Impale and Hex coming out from that line. That's a power that 2.5 second level 1 Hex, as well as the arrow. UGTFO has been absolutely on point. kin.killa's leading the way. He could use that Cyclone to give his teammates time to catch up. Decides not to. He's just going to chase him down.
Oh, that's not good.
Caught out by the Grave Chill. We see Lone Druid coming in. Moonlight Shadow thrown out. They have Dust this time, but they haven't popped him so far. Dumbledy comes in from the back end, pops his Rage. Eclipse goes down. Silence spying out. Visage is called out between 4. He goes down. Throws out the ultimate. Throws out Soul Assumption, sorry. Venomancer throws out his ultimate. Kills Naix Assassin. Lone Druid Bear's taking a lot of damage. If they could kill that Bear again, never mind. Just going to kill the hero. UGTFO leading the way, getting a bit of right clicks in. Did Viper buy back into that, or did he just respawn?
I think he just respawned.
Viper's back. Dumbledy's leading the way, beating him down. That's that power, that lifestealer. kin.killa gets that last 10 of them with a right click. And wow, hell of a fight. Thoughts on the engagement there, Yoshi?
The Naix got a really nice impale here, but it didn't really do too much. It was towards the end of the fight, so it didn't really.
What's surprised?
The big problem is the Naix is not level 6. He really needs to hit 6 to get Vendetta in, you know. Like,
yeah.
He would do a lot of damage to the Death Prophet with his combo, you know, with the mana burn.
That's definitely the.
Need to focus the Death Prophet down first.
The biggest drawback with the Naix Assassin as a trailer in support is he's very greedy. You need that Vendetta for him to really be effective. His Impale and Mana Burn are nice, but you really need that Vendetta just so you can scout him out. I mean, Lion has been playing a little bit out on his own, so if the Naix Assassin had Vendetta, he could catch out the Lion perhaps out in the jungle, go in for a kill attempt, kill him before he could do anything, start the fight 5v4, use that to generate the lead. Visage has been pretty good with his familiar micro, but just hasn't been good enough. He dies a lot in these fights. He gets called out by the open wounds, just gets ripped to pieces by that lifestealer. Supports over on the Radiant side are very underfarmed. Pause coming up from there once again. Just going to do a quick golden EXP check. 4,000 EXP lead in favor of the 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus in terms of gold, over 5,000. Quick item check. Luna has treads and Ring of Aquila. She is extremely poor right now. Naix Assassin just has boots and dust and sentries. He's on ward duty. Viper, boots, no bottle, Wraithband, as well as the point booster and for building towards his Aghanim Scepter. Bit surprised he chose to max out his poison attack, choosing to skip out his Nether Toxin. What are your thoughts on this, Yoshi?
I don't like that at all. He definitely needs Nether Toxin, that's why he doesn't do any damage.
Yeah, because there's a lot of times where he could have gotten kills up on kin.killa, but just didn't do enough damage. I mean, you only really need 1 point up in that poison attack. Vendetta pop by Naix Assassin. He's going to scout out Lion. Lion's way too far forward. Arrow thrown out, but yeah, he goes down to sham out damage. Gats, they're choosing to initiate out on this. Not too sure what they're doing. UGTFO is the Viper Strike. He's going to go down to the poison tick damage. Gats is called out position. Cut it down by the poison attack. Very sloppy play coming up from 4 Horsemen of Ruckus. Lion was caught way out of position. UGTFO and Gats, instead of backing out, they chose to re-engage up against 4. Threw their lives away, starting to throw a bit of their lead, and that looks like a free tail 1. They can't defend this, so Jesse instead says, fuck that guys, I'm going to take the top lane. He's going for that mechanism for his team, he almost has it. With that tower kill, he'll have it. One thing to note with the Death Prophet is that Exorcism Spirits do damage, and then they have to fly back to you, much like the carriers over in StarCraft 2. So if you stand right next to somebody, your spirits have less time to travel between you and hitting them, so you do a lot more damage. So right now, he should be standing at melee range from the tower to do that extra damage, instead of having to wait for the spirits to travel between the tower and back to him. Just a little tip for Death Prophet players if you want to maximize your damage that you do during your Exorcism Spirits. And he's got 3 heroes rotating, and he should back out right now. With that movement speed from the Phase Boots, from the Yule Scepter, as well as Witchcraft, he should be fine. And there you go. Got Mechanism up on Death Prophet. He'll have that flying out to him. Dumbledy picked up an armlet during all this. What are your thoughts on armlet on Lifestealer, Yoshi?
Well, that's pretty standard, right? I don't think you should play Lifestealer without going armlet.
I don't know, Loda seems to disagree. He hasn't picked up, every time I've seen Loda play Lifesteal in the last few games, Alliance, they don't seem to like going armlet over on Lifesteal. I've seen all the Maelstroms, I've seen even Chrysalis first and Skullbasher, but never the armlet. Seems to have died out in the competitive scene.
Maybe it's just Loda. I don't. No, I really think Lifestealer armlet is really cool.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Can pick up on the Death Prophet.
Provides a lot of EHP, provides that HP. Moonlight Shadow pop by the Mirana. Moving on, and Vendetta's pop by the Naix Assassin. Where is the sentry? Where's the dust? Point blank arrow on the Naix Assassin. They see him. He throws out the dust. Eclipse thrown out. Instantly kills Death Prophet. kin.killa got way to position. Turnaround coming out. Rage with that finger over on the Viper. Cutting him around. Goes down to damage from Tommy. Mana Drain over on Lion. I don't know what Lion's doing to Visage. He's taking damage from the familiars. He goes down. Ultra kill over on the Visage. Over on Visage. Gets that last kill to familiars. 4 for 3. Very messy fight. Not too sure what they were thinking there. kin.killa went way too far forward. Ate the entire Eclipse as well as the Lucent Beam. Died before he could do anything. Wasn't even able to cyclone himself up. Lifestealer, with those points up in Rage, really is missing the fact that he doesn't have that open wounds. He could have initiated a bit earlier, done a little bit more damage. And Lion's in there choosing to Mana Drain the Visage instead of hitting him. I'm not too sure what the thought process was there. Maybe it was a threat he might throw out another Soul Assumption, but nonetheless tanked the Familiars for too long and went down.
I think kin.killa needs to make a BKB next. But I think he really doesn't like making BKB on this hero because in the last scrim, in one of the scrims that we played with him, and he was Death Prophet, he was very far ahead, but he lost. They ended up losing the game to us because he didn't make a BKB on Death Prophet. Yeah,
I know both Dumbledy and kin.killa, they don't seem to like BKBs for whatever reason. I'm not too sure why you wouldn't like a 10-second magic immunity item. But I don't know, maybe it's just a player preference thing. He's got Exorcism up, so they're going to take that tier 1. Doesn't want to use that Exorcism, but if he has to, he can. Would like to see a BKB pick up on Death Prophet. That effectively makes him completely invincible in these fights. He can run around. I guess his rationale is that with that Yule Scepter, he already has that defensive capability coming out from the Cyclone, so he doesn't need it. UGTFO, scouted out by the Naix Assassin, but nothing too much happening there. He's gone for Phase Boots this time into the Yasha. Most likely will be building towards that Mantis Cell or even SMY. Both are pretty decent pickups on the Mirana. Venomancer choosing to max out Poison Sting, only 2 points up in wards now. Bit surprising considering you'd think he want to max out wards when they've got a push lineup with kin.killa on that Death Prophet. What are your thoughts on Gatz's skill build?
Yeah, the skill build on both his supports are really great actually. Even the Lion, he doesn't have the max impale, he's taken the same point as Hex for I don't know what reason.
Yeah, Hex doesn't really scale all too well. Extra, like, 0.5 seconds disable compared to the damage coming out from the impale. Arrow flies out, hits Luna, but Luna has a double damage. Great play coming out from UGTFO. He's been absolutely on point. kin.killa's way too far forward, called out by the impale, called out by the Lucent Beam, as well as the Mana Burn. He goes down. UGTFO throws out the Mirana ulti, but he's called out with that dust. Soul Assumption brings him very low. Looks like Lion's going to go down. Horsemen and Ruckus really starting to throw away the early advantage. And Dumbledy, running into that fight, realizes the team's dying without him, decides wisely to back on out. He's got 4k gold. What do you think he'll be picking up? I know Dumbledy loves to pick up that SMY, but do you think that'd be the best pickup in this case, or perhaps something like Skullbasher?
SNY is actually really good on Naix. SNY got past the latest patch about the second, good 16% MS now.
That's definitely true. Gives lifesteal everything he needs. It gives him a lot of HP, a lot of damage, and movement speed so he can chase people down.
I think both these teams really need to work on dropping their sentries. Like the sentry's too far back, so where kin.killa died was over here. They needed another sentry after they took this tower.
Yeah, that's definitely true. A bit of counter warning coming out from Jamie. Hasn't been having too great of a game ever since that really good early initiation. Been called out a lot, hasn't really been able to throw his spells out. Dumbledy's been having a fantastic game. He's still sitting on his gold. He's got 4.6k. He could even choose just to go for Abyssal Blade straight up. That would be a great pickup, especially as that guaranteed bash proc over that Lone Druid can really help burst him down. We see the Sacred Relic pick up on the Lone Druid. They really need to get a kill attempt on this Lone Druid right now before he picks up that Radiance, as that Radiance will completely tear through both support players over on the Radiant side, as both Lion and the Venomancer have very low HP. Nothing they can do against that bear if it decides to go on them. Drives them in the fight. Mirana as well doesn't have all too much HP, so you can't hang around for too long. Radiance picked up in about 22 minutes. And we see that EXP lead actually going in favor of the Radiant side now. TYK leading by 2,000. In terms of gold lead, still 5,000 in favor of the Dire side, just from all the tower gold, as well as the creep efficiency. But that Radiance pickup could potentially spell doom. Venomancer with that Staff of Wizardry, most likely a 4-staff. And Death Prophet picking up that casual point booster, deciding not to go for that BKB. I guess he's decided that that Yule Scepter will be enough. We'll see how it works out for him. Assault Cuirass going to be built on that Lifestealer. He's picked up that Plate Mail. Great pickup on Lifestealer as he has low armor and helps mitigate his weakness. The negative armor attack speed makes him hit a hell of a lot faster and a hell of a lot harder. So if he could get that up, and not only that, it synergizes with the Death Prophet ultimate. They're going to go for the Roshan with that double damage rune. UGTFO hanging out in the back end. He can throw out arrows to drive them back if they decide to poke their head in. Vendetta popped by Naix Assassin, and Horsemen and Ruckus should really back out right now. kin.killa's caught out of position once again. Yields himself in time to dodge that impale. Moonlight Shadow thrown out, but they see this. Eclipse largely wasted. Venomancer ultimate thrown out. Soul Assumption kills off Lion before it can do anything. Eclipse completely wasted. Exorcism damage coupled with that Crypt Swarm kills off the Naix Assassin, but other than that, not too much they could do. Dumbledy is running for his life. They're going to be burned down by that Radiance. Horsemen and Ruckus really starting to fall apart now. So that Radiance bear.
If they don't play this correctly, Horsemen will actually lose this game.
Yeah, they've really thrown away the early game lead. Bear is starting to smash through those towers.
I think not planting sentries around this area, like the Naix Assassin got in and they didn't see this ward, and there's a lot of, stock up on the sentries. These supports, they're not really staying on top of the sentry.
Definitely. kin.killa's also been playing way too far forward as well. He's currently the highest priority hero on the Dire side, as he not only does he have the majority of that damage, he also has the mechanism. He can't afford to go down. He needs to hang out. They need to use these Venomancer wards to scout out gank attempts instead of sending kin.killa in. This could potentially be a huge disadvantage to them, as both Lifestealer as well as Death Prophet rely on staying ahead in order to win games. They're not really that great at playing from behind. Lifestealer does get out-carried by most carry heroes if he falls behind items. He needs that early aggressive lead. Luna's picked up a BKB, so she can start a Death Ball. Hasn't popped her level 1 BKB. Her Eclipse was largely wasted in that fight, but nonetheless her team was able to follow through. Naix Assassin choosing to max out Carapace over Mana Burn. What are your thoughts on this? I'm always torn between maxing Mana Burn or Carapace on the Naix Assassin.
Carapace is usually the standard build, but if they had a really high priority intelligence hero like Death Prophet in this case, he probably could have gone Mana Burn and it would have been okay.
He's almost got enough mana for his Blink dagger.
Really good against OD.
Yeah, that's definitely true. With the D-Warding coming out, Visage is caught in a position. UGTFO throws out an arrow, actually misses, but caught up with the open wounds as well as the Impale, Crypt Swarm, and the Finger. Not too sure why the Finger was thrown out there, bit of a waste, but I guess he really wanted to kill. Never mind, Mirana actually...
Big weight. That's a really big weight. He's level. The Finger's level 1, so his cooldown is really long.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we've got a bit of split pushing coming out with that Spirit Bear. This is one of the reasons why people hate to play against that Lone Druid. It's like that Nature's Prophet. You constantly have to be aware of the fact that he's going to be pushing down your lanes. Grouping up for a middle push. Exorcism thrown out. Level 2 Exorcism with maxed out Witchcraft. That's about, what is that, 23 spirits? Doing an awful lot of damage, especially...
They have a sentry the other side, so
yep.
the Naix will definitely be spotted.
Yeah, Naix is spotted up on that Plague Ward. Viper Strike thrown out on kin.killa. He's taking a lot of damage. Gats goes down but throws out his ultimate. BKB pop. Looks like Eclipse is going to be thrown out. Eclipse is thrown out. Rafiki takes the most of that. Moonlight Shadow, but a bit too late. Horsemen and Ruckus are falling apart. To the shared tank survivability coming out from Lone Druid. He's very hard to bring down. Against this dual core lineup, you either choose to focus the Lone Druid and leave the Luna free to rain havoc, or if you focus on the Luna, Lone Druid's able to rain havoc with his Radiance Bear. Not only that, you have Viper who's picked up his Aghanim Scepter, so he's providing more of a support role. All he's doing is being able to throw out those Viper Strikes, hold people in place, give his Luna as well as the Lone Druid time to beat people down. Looks like Horsemen and the Ruckus are starting to fall apart at the seams there. That's another Tattoo Tail they're giving away for free. Naix hasn't really been too effective in these last two fights.
That was actually a really good play from the Visage, you know? He's the one who set up the bat stuns on the Visage, on the Death Prophet and the Venomancer. And that's what let them pick those two heroes off. I really don't like kin.killa's choice of going Bloodstone here. He really needs a BKB. Yeah, he really doesn't like making the item on this hero, I think.
Yeah, he really seems to...
Like he needs one.
Yeah, he most definitely does. Bloodstone does offer a lot to your team, but it's an item you have to get very early. If you get it, if he does happen to get it in the next few minutes, it'll be, what, 27, 28, 30-minute Bloodstone. Doesn't really offer all too much.
I think even if he went hot, it would be better than Bloodstone. I don't think Bloodstone does all that much at this stage in the game, eh?
Yeah, with Death Prophet's intelligence gain, as well as the mana regeneration coming out from the Yule Scepter, that provides more than enough regeneration. Never mind, looks like he's going for that pipe. He has picked up a Hood of Defiance, and it looks like my flatmate Jamie has disconnected. Our internet could be on the fritz. He'll reconnect shortly. Just going to do a quick item check on the side of the Radiant. BKB as well as Yasha picked up on Luna. She's off to a great start. Once she gets that Manta, she'll start to do her a hell of a lot more. Naix Assassin, he's got enough gold for his Blink. Viper going for that BKB. He already has his Aghanim Scepter. He's doing his job. All he's doing is holding people in place for the rest of his team to keep hitting them. Visage with that mechanism, doing pretty well. And Lone Druid with that Radiance on his bear. We'll see what item he chooses to go for next. I'm thinking something like an Assault Cuirass, just to increase the attack speed as well as the pushing power of the bear, and to make him harder to bring down. But
look at the gold graph. It's actually going in TYK say was the first time in the game.
Oh wow, TYK climbing Mount Everest. Gold K, 2.5k gold lead over on that side in terms of EXP. Over 5,000 EXP lead. The difference is starting to increase further and further. Horsemen and the Ruckus really are starting to throw away that early advantage. Lion hasn't really been achieved all too much in these fights. He's been called out. He dies instantly to the sheer amount of magic damage coming out. Visage throws out one soul assumption. Follow up with the Impale from that Naix and he goes down. Hasn't really been able to achieve all too much. Venomancer can throw out his Gale and his ult, but beyond that, he doesn't really do all too much. He doesn't have any form of hard CC to lock them down. UGTFO has been playing fantastically. He's been landing arrows. He's been providing covering fire for his team with that Moonlight Shadow. But there's only so much he could do. He does have a Manta picked up, so we'll see what item he chooses to go for next. Would like to see something like a Desolator. And 5-man Smoke Gang coming out from the 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus. Moving on, and kin.killa leading the charge once again. Would like to see somebody else lead the charge, just so he doesn't get caught out. There we go. Lion's starting to lead the charge instead. He has that Hex to follow up. They need to get a gank attempt over on that Lone Druid. Looks like they might have scouted him out. Moving on up. Naix Assassin's going to break the smoke. Dumbledy breaks the smoke. Pops open wound. Pops rage. He doesn't care about your spike carapace. He beats you down before you can do anything. Going on the bear. Bear's taking a lot of damage. Luna's pushed too far forward. Gets caught up with the impale. Follow up the Hex and the finger kills off the Luna. Great smoke rotation coming out from 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus. Arrow flies. I was going to hit Viper. Never mind. Just barely misses. Keeps flying through. UGTFO has a haste rune. Starts to go for a few pokes. And backs off. Great kills coming out from 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus. They should use that kill right now. There we go. They're going for Roshan. They're going to get further ahead.
That Luna shouldn't have died there.
Yeah, Luna should have...
He should have backed off the moment the Naix was gone.
Yeah, that was a max range impale that just barely caught her. If she'd backed out, she would have been fine. Dumbledy taking a lot of damage from Roshan. Uses that open wound, uses it to regenerate a bit of life. But he should be able to take it. Sells one of his items, picks up the Edge of the Immortal.
Impressive.
Dumbledy carrying his team through.
Dire's bottom tower doesn't even have arms to defend itself. What a brave tower.
Farms the Ancients using the armlet toggle. And over on the Radiant side, looks like Visage will most likely want to build towards that Aghanim Scepter if he can. Naix Assassin has that blink dagger, so that makes him so much more scarier. If he sees you, he can blink on you throughout the initiation, can save that Vendetta for scanning around. Lone Druid has a decent amount of gold. He's using that bear to constantly push out the map. He's almost got enough for his Assault Cuirass. They really do need to get a few more kills up on them. He's leading the way in terms of net worth. Ancients having stacked this entire time, so Luna's going to have a field day.
I'm really impressed with the bear player. He's actually very good.
Yeah, he's really been maximizing his GPM. Even though he did have a bit of a rocky start, he did die twice in the early game. Really been playing well. You could see why Bambi Rising chose to respect ban that Lone Druid. Fearing the amount of power coming out from him. It's a bit of a pity because personally I absolutely hate Lone Druid. I hate playing against him. I hate seeing him in games. But I guess in this case, TYK really pulling him off. We commented in the last few games they played last year's meta, and I guess Lone Druid is, but somehow they're making it work. Not too sure what that ban was. Bit of a bad mana ban coming out from Dumbledy. Looks like another smoke gank is about to come on out. They're grouping up for a smoke. kin.killa almost has his pipe. I think he's got that finished now. Yeah, he just needs the Headdresser Rejuvenation. 5-man smoke gank coming out. They recognize that TYK has wisened up to their Mirana strategy. They're dropping sentries and dust every time they see the Mirana drop her ult. And so instead they're just going to rely on smokes, rely on catching people up. Dumbledy leading the way once again. Can initiate with that open wounds, pop rage, start beating people down. It's good that kin.killa isn't leading the way just because, oh, there we go, smoke pops. They know they're there. Runs on out. Silence catches too. Open wounds on the bear. Gale on the bear as well. kin.killa taking a lot of damage. Hex over on Golfrey. Eclipse is thrown out as well as BKB. Rage goes down. Spike Carapace isn't going to do anything through a Rage. Jamie goes down to one last Soul Assumption after burning from that Radiant. Naix going toe-to-toe with Luna, but with that Soul Assumption, with that familiar support, he's going to go down. UGTFO hanging around. Throws out that arrow. Arrow actually misses. Rare miss from UGTFO. He's forced to leap on out. He's going to run the hell back. Naix is caught way far out behind enemy lines. He's going to go down once again. Nothing he can do. UGTFO coming back. What are you doing, UGTFO? Run back. Never mind. He's going down. Complete wipe for Horsemen of the Ruckus. Actually, did Death Prophet TP back home? Looks like Death Prophet was able to make it out.
He was TPing right here. He was TPing right here. The bear like walked all the way through.
Great play coming out from the Death Prophet. Somehow able to juke out the bear and make it his way back. He has his pipe finished, but 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus, they weren't able to get a single kill from that. They lost their Aegis as well as their carry. This could potentially be Rax. Unless Dumbledy is forced to buy back, he really doesn't want to. But great play coming out from the Radiant side. TYK holding firm. Really punishing the Radiant side for the weaker support heroes in the mid to late game. Gats hasn't really been able to achieve all too much. They're actually very underleveled. Lion's been dying too early in fights before he can throw out many of his spells. That Soul Assumption as well as the Visage Familiars beating on him usually is enough to kill him off on his own. Throw in the Radiant Burn from the bear. Is not able to get off that secondary Earth Spike or that secondary Hex. He could get one of his spells off before he goes down. kin.killa too has been focused on that Naix Assassin. That Mana Burn doing so much work up against that Death Prophet. Really making him regret going for that BKB. Not going for a BKB. But with that pipe finish, that does provide a little bit more HP for his team. But we'll see if it's enough. Dumbledore going for that Skull Basher. He wants to go for that Abyssal Blade. He needs that form of lockdown now, especially if he wants to go toe-to-toe. Up against someone like that Luna, up against that Lone Druid. Lone Druid has finished his Assault Cuirass, I believe. Yeah, he's got that, as well as 2k gold, so he's going for a Basher of his own. This bear is starting to look very scary. What are your thoughts on what the Dire side can do to start to turn this game around, Yoshi?
kin.killa maybe need to go into a BKB from here. I actually think it's too late for a BKB probably.
Yeah, the amount of physical DPS coming out from Luna and Lone Druid is proving to be too much. Not only the fact that the Viper Strike goes through BKB anyway, so he's going to be slowed down and beaten up.
Yeah, I mean, you know, even in the fight just now, he popped his pipe and mech, but even then he couldn't tank the rest of the Eclipse, so he had to use himself, and then he can't get as much damage done because he's not casting his Crypt Swarm and not right clicking and stuff like that. Whereas if he BKBs, he can actually just sit there and ignore everything.
That's definitely true.
I really think, yeah. Well, perhaps if he watches the cast of this game or something, and he realizes that he should have gone BKB.
That's definitely true. Bit of a lull in the game right now. Never mind. Looks like Naix Assassin is scouted out with that Sentry Ward, so he's not going to go in. Choosing to back his way out. Double damage rune spawns. Naix Assassin might decide to go in for it. No, he knows he's been spotted out. He's got that poison sting. Gonna face check Roshan. Dust pop by Lion. Blinks out before he gets hexed. Great play. Actually, Lion chooses to go for the impel instead of that hex. Hex is a 0 cast point, so it would have been instant. So Naix Assassin's able to get out. Bit of a misplay by that Lion. UGTFO is doing the best he can for his team. His arrows have been pretty on point so far. He missed the crucial arrow when he was chasing up that Luna to enter the high ground against that Naix, but other than that, has been doing pretty good so far. Luna just has picked up her Manta Style. Very dangerous item for that Luna. Drastically increases her DPS as each of her illusions also inherit that great glaive proc. Looks like both sides are just going to be hanging around. Basher picked up on Lone Druid. What are your thoughts on Skull Basher on Lone Druid?
I think it's pretty good against the Naix, but I mean, I really think once the Luna gets a butterfly or something, it'll be a point of no return. I think once Luna actually has a butterfly, it'll be almost impossible for Horsemen to actually win this game.
Yeah, that's definitely true. They just don't have enough damage to bring him down. I mean, Naix is their only real form of physical DPS. kin.killa's been dying too quickly in fights with Exorcism to do much work. Bit of a pity. UGTFO is doing well, but he just doesn't hit hard enough. That's the biggest drawback of Mirana as a carry. She needs that Manta Style, and then she needs another damage item before she starts to output respectable amount of DPS. It's mostly the fact that she has a huge amount of utility coming out from the rest of her spells, that she doesn't have to necessarily be the primary DPS. Oh god, Dumbledore's called out position. Blink into the Viper Strike, called out with a lull tangle. Mirana ultimate is thrown out, but they're dusted. Dumbledore's caught way out of position. The Dire side really should back out right now. There's nothing they could do. Naix Assassin's Carapace catches out kin.killa. kin.killa's backed out. Hex is thrown out, called out by the Viper Strike as well as the impel from the Naix. Heals himself up. Lion's called out position, eats that bird drop, hits that lull tangle, goes down from the soul assumption as well as the bear. Lucid beam thrown out to get that kill. kin.killa backs his way on out. Lion dies. That's 2 for nothing. Could be a game for Horsemen and Ruckus right now if they choose to group and push.
That was a really good smoking actually from TYK.
Definitely. They recognized that the Naix might have been a bit too far forward. Didn't have any ward coverage on his own.
Doing its best, but it doesn't look good.
And Viper Strike thrown out. Yeah, there's nothing they could do right now. That looks like a free Rax, and that could actually be game. Exorcism is thrown out, so a bit of harassment. Kills off one of the familiars. Second one throws out the silence as well. UGTFO using that Star Storm to try and clear out waves. It's a soul assumption, takes in a lot of damage.
Dire's middle barracks shall be remembered.
Wow.
It's a bit unfortunate. kin.killa had a great start of the game. He's caught up by that Viper Strike, forced the Cyclone to break it off. Visage goes down to a tower hit, followed up with that Finger of Death, but he's actually going to go down to Visage Familiars right now from the look of it.
Under attack.
kin.killa goes down from that BKB. Oh, never mind, the regeneration from the Exorcism. Perfect timing, just barely keeps him alive. Cuckoo Pang is called out by a stun. Arrow pops the BKB, pops the Eclipse, says... Actually, never mind, Tommy is able to beat him down. Bear goes in, they're able to kill the bear. Good defense from Horsemen and Ruckus. Nyx Assassin kills off that Lion with that Mana Burn, eats an arrow to the face, eats the Crypt Storm, eats the Silence, goes down to one last right click from the Mirana. Good defense from 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus, but they do trade that mid lane. Rex could be too little too late, but nonetheless they're able to hold.
Rex is really low actually. I think the Visage should like backdoor this Rex with his
With his familiars, yeah. Do the Operation Skydrop from that. 2 lanes of Rex in exchange for 4 heroes. Very messy fight. They do kill the Lone Druid there, and he gets it. And the dire side are very frustrated. Aghanim Scepter picked up for the Visage, and now he has 3. Bit of smack talking flying out from 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus. Jamie, he loves the troll, he loves the bad mana. Bloodstone picked up by kin.killa, but it's not really doing anything for this team right now. He really needed that BKB. Bit unfortunate. Roshan's about to respawn in about 4 seconds. Dumbledee's hanging around. He's been having a great game as far as Lifestealer goes, but the rest of his team just hasn't been able to follow through. They're really hating themselves for the fact that Venomancer doesn't have any kind of stun or CC. He has the snares, but with that BKB up on Luna, Venomancer does absolute fuck all.
Middle tower is normal.
And Luna's able to beat him down. Gats is caught out of position, caught out by that Viper Strike, throws out his ult, eats his soul assumption to the face, and goes down. Once again, you gotta respect that Viper pick. You have to be afraid. Once he has the Aghanim Scepter, kin.killa runs on in. Dumbledee comes on in, gets out. The snare, Impale flies out, Hex, BKB, Eclipse is thrown out, but goes down. kin.killa's up in the middle of the fight, throwing out the Exorcism, throwing out Crypt Swarms. Bear goes down. Dumbledee uses it in fast to get his HP back. Chases the Visage. It's caught out by that Viper Strike, but Viper goes down to the Exorcism Spirits. My god, how was 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus able to pull that off? Great fight in favor of them. Exorcism, however, just went down, so they're going to lose that for pushing. Dumbledee's at very low HP right now. Not really able to capitalize on this push.
Lone Druid doesn't have his bear up.
Oh, that's true.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Dumbledee just using open wounds to get a bit of HP back.
Oh,
Blink, dual impale. Eats the silence, eats the carapace. Arrow just barely misses, but it looks like he's gonna get chased down. kin.killa's up for blood. Open wounds, carapace! Carapace is through kin.killa. Great play. He's been on point with this carapace. Every time kin.killa throws out a Crypt Swarm, he's able to pop it, stun kin.killa out in these fights. He's really regretting not having a BKB. However, with that Bloodstone, he's got 11 charges now, so if he does die in a fight, that's an almost instant respawn. He'll be back in a few seconds. Could prove to be a huge factor in these fights. Great fights coming up from 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus. They're saying, hey, we're down, but we're not out. We're going to climb our way back through. Gold leads at a dip in favor of them. About 6,000 gold lead in favor of TYK. EXP leads only down to 2,500. They really are starting to turn this around. TYK is going to throw their advantage a little bit, but we'll see if that's enough for 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus to pull this off and turn this into a win. If they do happen to win with 2 Rexes down, I'll buy a hat and I will eat it in front of Jamie. 3 Visage familiars.
Actually, a really good play by the Naix here. I think with no bear, they had almost nothing to hold that, and then he just distracted them until the other heroes respawned. I think that was a really good play.
Yeah, that was a great play. Looks like they're going to get a 3 Roshan kill. 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus know that Roshan is up, but with those 3 Visage familiars hanging around, providing flying vision, no real way they could jump on in. Great kill slowing down Roshan, giving Visage that attack speed. Desolator has been picked up on Mirana, giving a lot more right-click power. That negative 6 armor could prove to be a huge effect in these fights, especially with that Soul Cross. That's negative 11 armor on whatever hero you happen to be focused firing. Gats' Venomancer hasn't really been all too effective. He's actually might get caught out of position right now. Never mind, Nyx Assassin chooses not to go on in on him. He's got that 4 staff, but this ult really hasn't been doing all too much work in these fights. Usually goes down before he can do anything. Really lacking that extra stun, follow-up stun, to help out the rest of his team. Like Lion, he goes down far too easily, just to the sheer amount of burst damage coming out. That Soul Assumption with that Lucent Beam, with that Viper Strike ulti able to catch him in a position. Fishing Arrow flies out. Yeah, it's a bit of a waste over on the bear, since the bear is still up, so if you kill the bear, Lone Druid can't really do anything. The bear's taking a lot of damage right now. Next Assassin blinks to get to 2-man impale. He's caught up by an Earth Spike of his own. Where's that Hex? Pulse Vendetta gets hit by the dust. Eclipse as well as BKB. Gas pushes himself up, but goes down. Assassin pushes his way through. Next Assassin goes down. Finger thrown out over on PDY. kin.killa just goes down, but is able to kill off the Lone Druid. Dumbledee's going in for blood. They're able to hold. 4 for 2. kin.killa buys back despite his very low respawn time, pops the Mantis style illusions to prevent him from throwing out an error. UGTFO finishes off those illusions, they're chasing down Luna. Luna has that Talisman of Evasion, but with that silence, with that stun, goes down. Visage Familiar, one of them goes down, it's 100 gold extra for UGTFO. 4 Horsemen of Ruckus are holding against all odds. Fantastic plays coming up from them. Lone Druid lost a bear during that. If his bear goes down right now, that creates a window of opportunity for 4 Horsemen of Ruckus. Exorcism is down, but kin.killa is able to provide pushing power just through the share amount of Crypt Swarms he can throw out, with the fact that he has that mechanism, as well as that pipe. He can keep his creep wave alive before they reach the high ground. And UGTFO is having a fantastic game as Mirana. He's providing that extra physical form of DPS. He should go for a crit right now, or perhaps even build towards something like a butterfly. With that double damage rune, looks like they'll be able to claim a Rex of their own if they press their advantage.
I think TYK were a bit hasty. I don't think they should have pushed it tier 3. I think they should have waited for the Luna's butterfly first, and then I think the Luna's basically unkillable.
Yeah, definitely. They're actually going for a gank attack on that bear. 2-man impale, actually 3-man impale, saves the bear.
Is all alone in the world.
That was really close. If that bear died, the bear's been pulled out for a long time.
Yeah, 2-minute cooldown on the bear. That's the big disadvantage of Lone Druid. He's a timing push carry. He has a 10-minute window where he's absolutely unstoppable, and then after that point he starts to taper off, and the physical DPS gets too much for his bear to handle. That's when he really tapers off as a carry. As once teams have enough physical DPS and negative arm to bring down that bear, not all too much you can do. Lifestealer has picked up the Abyssal Blade. We'll see what item he chooses to go for next. Maybe you might see something like an MKB up on that Lifestealer, just to deal with that Luna who's building towards that butterfly. He's got that Talisman of Evasion, sitting about 2.5k. She wants to hold on for buyback gold. Lion's picked up a gem, so he's sick of Naix's shit. He's hanging around, making sure that when Naix Assassin goes on him, he can at least provide vision for the rest of his team, bring him down, also provide a lot more map control. Horsemen of the Ruckus are somehow able to hold. TYK is on to throw away that lead, and the power of that Lone Druid is tapering off. Luna needs a bit more farm before she can really take off against...
They just smoked. They just smoked.
Smoke gang over from TYK, grouping up, pushing on out.
Defending their base. I think if they catch like 2 of them here or 2 of them here, either way.
Yeah, that could be game. TYK hanging around.
They have to be quite careful though. They have to be quite careful with how they engage, I feel.
4 Horsemen of the Ruckus knows something is up. All they see is the bear on the bottom lane. They don't see any of the heroes. UGTFO might actually get called out if Naix Assassin blinks around now. Never mind, smoke breaks. They're all revealed. Bit unfortunate that smoke was wasted, but it does force Horsemen of the Ruckus to play defensively. Means the lanes are all pushed out right now. Lone Druid, I love what he's doing with his bear. He's making sure that all 3 lanes are pushed in. So they're always forced into that terrible decision. Do we defend the bottom lane Rex? Well, the mid and top lane push through and start beating on our tier 4s, or do we defend any of the other lanes? We have to draw a hero back to make sure those towers don't go down, in which case the Radiant side are able to initiate in a favourable advantage. UGTFO throws out that Starstorm as well as that Crypt Swarm. They do have a lot of creep clearing abilities, especially with that 4-second Crypt Swarm. Kin.Killers can always throw that out, make sure that the creeps don't get anywhere near their base. And we see they've actually spotted out the Ancients. It's a good thing they weren't stacked. Luna's clearing it out right now.
The Luna needs to finish the butterfly before the next fight. I really feel that like even just now when they were like hitting the creeps in mid, the bear was taking too many. I think they should give it to Luna so they can finish her butterfly.
Yeah, Lone Druid at this point pretty much has maxed out. I mean, it would be nice to be picked up maybe something like an Abyssal Blade on MKB on his bear. But at this point, he really has everything he needs. He's got that Vladimir's Offering, he has the Assault Cuirass, he has the Radiance, as well as the Basher. He doesn't really need all too much gold at this point. You really should funnel it all towards the Luna. I guess this is one of the...
Abyssal's probably the only viable upgrade here for the Lone Druid, but I don't think Abyssal's that great on bear because the bear doesn't have mana to cast the extra...
Yeah, so it's just there for the extra damage. Naix Assassin hanging around, could have gone for the blink into Impale, decides not to.
What? I'd actually like to see him sell the Midas to get a Maelstrom.
Yeah, that would be a good pickup. However, the only drawback with the Maelstrom is it procs with the Entangle as well as with the Bash, so it reduces the proc chance for all of them. Since only one of them can proc at the same time, Maelstrom takes priority over all other proc abilities. And so that's the only drawback to that. But something like a Molnir would be nice in the bear, just because it gives him that 70 attack speed, increases the physical DPS, as well as the fact that you can always throw out, pass it to the hero, use that Static Storm ability on your bear, throw your bear out, so when your bear's taking hits, it's able to throw out that lightning on everybody else. There we go.
Good with that with sending the bear to the other lane to split push.
Yeah.
Really good at that.
He's been able to use that to constantly push out all the waves. Luna's just picked up her butterfly, so it looks like they're finally grouping up for that final push. If 4 Horsemen of Ruckus can hold, Luna won't have a buyback. Bear will have buyback as well as boots of travel, but if they are able to press this advantage, they could perhaps go for a Rax. Turning into a very long, very scrappy game. 4 Horsemen of Ruckus, they're down but they're not out. They're holding on the best they can. Dumbledee's been playing a fantastic lifestealer. He's only died twice this entire game, making sure they make up for the lack of the rest of his team. kin.killa has been doing a great game with the Death Prophet. Nyx Assassin has counterpicked him quite a lot with the fact that he can throw out that Carapace. Every time he throws out the Crypt Swarm, that really has been his doom. Would like to see a BKB pick up. Actually has enough gold to pick up a BKB right now if he gets a few more creeps and drops the gem, gives the gem to somebody else. Would like to see a Blink Dagger up on that line, just to give him that extra initiation range, but I doubt he'll get the gold for that. He's been on ward duty this game. He's been doing a pretty decent job. Would you like to see either crit on Mirana, or would you like to see something more like a butterfly?
I think crit's probably the way.
Mm.
You probably want to just get as much burst damage done on the bear as possible. I think once they kill the bear, a lot, like half of TYK's DPS is not on the bear, and the bear's not that hard to kill.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, you can see right now, even in terms of net worth, the Bear's by far leading the way. Has more gold than all of his support players combined. The other 3 heroes combined, Viper, Visage, and Nyx Assassin, just barely have enough net worth compared to the Lone Druid. He's really carrying that team right now. If they kill off that Bear, if they're able to kill him before he gets, or kill off their Bear twice, or kill that Lone Druid at the start of a fight, really can cripple the effective power of TYK. Luna's doing okay, but against a sheer amount of damage coming out from the Dire as well as a sheer amount of control, she can't really go toe-to-toe against her entire team. Would be good to see. She's using her Manta Illusion to push out the lanes a bit, but with that Venomancer wards, with the sheer amount of magical power coming out from Mirana Starstorm as well as that Crypt Swarm, very difficult for the creeps to push up in the lanes. We might even see a pipe pick up on one of the heroes of TYK, just to give the creeps that buffer of HP so they can push up to the creep wave without getting nuked down. Because one of the drawbacks of having super creeps, as well as the fact that they're always pushing out their lanes, is the Radiant side actually aren't getting that much farm. They're hanging around. They're actually starting to lose their gold lead, just because the Dire side are always able to farm with the creeps right in front of them, while the Radiant side, aren't actually able to farm at the same time. The Bear's going to go down 300 gold in favor of the Dire side. He's going to pop his Bear. If they kill the Bear a second time, that could very well be game.
Is under attack.
We'll see how TYK chooses to deal with this. Roshan will be respawning in a minute, so it looks like just hanging around, waiting for Roshan to spawn. Other heroes on TYK are just sitting around, they're not farming, they're just passively waiting. Luna's and Lone Druid are the only ones that are farming right now. They're making sure that if either of their calls get jumped on, they can immediately respond. But that could prove to be their detriment, as 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus are able to continue to keep on farming, able to get those few core items up. We could potentially see a comeback coming. Roshan will be up in 20 seconds. We've got a Visage Familiar sitting there to scout it out. What do you think TYK should do right now, Yoshi?
Perhaps Manta siege this tower until it's down, and then, or either that, or they should try what they did before. I know it didn't work last time. They can smoke and catch like 2 of their heroes defending on the side.
Blink into 2-man Impale. Silencer thrown out by as well Carapace. Viper Strike thrown out on the Mirana. She leaps on home. Scrappy engagement. Looks like that Manta sieging is starting to bring that tower down. Roshan has respawned. They're scanning it out with the Visage Familiars. Looks like they want to go for a smoke gank through the mid lane. Even though there are sentries, those sentries might spot them out. I know 4 Horsemen of Ruckus, they know the strategy. They know that once their racks are down, they need to place sentries and wards there just in case to prevent them from smoking from behind, cutting them off of their flanks.
Sentries don't actually spot smoke anymore, so...
Roshan has fallen to the
That's true, sentries don't provide vision unless they're paired with an observer ward. So that could prove to be their weak...
what I mean is, no, smoke actually just doesn't get revealed by True Sight.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
What patch was this?
I think it was either the last patch or the patch before.
Oh wow, I must have completely skipped that one. Huh. That's actually a significant patch change. Looks like they're going to siege down that tower. Yeah, tower finally goes down.
The glyph is too late. They just blew the glyph. They could lose the Rex if they're not careful.
Yeah.
Radiant side should probably buy again to deal with the Mirana ulti. I think the Mirana ulti is still quite dangerous. But they backed off after taking tower. I think they just smoke into their base now that there are no towers.
Yep.
I think they could just take the game from there.
Yeah, definitely. But looks like they're playing they're playing it slow, playing it steady. They've got Cheese up on Lone Druid, Aegis up on the Luna. And they're grouping up for a push right now. Gats has been doing a great job. Actually, we've got smoke coming out from 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus. Never mind, they just went out and revealed it.
That's a good impale.
Yeah, going out on the bear. Aaron misses. Bear's going to go down. Exorcism is thrown out. Dumbledore going on the Lone Druid. Lone Druid taking a lot of damage. He's that finger in the face. He goes down. He's under the pop his cheese. Eclipse Walls, BKB. Dumbledore duking it out with that Luna. Exorcism Spirit's doing a lot of damage. Dumbledore just barely able to infest out of there. Goes down one last right click from that Visage. Bit unfortunate. Aegis has popped. Luna's gone down. Viper goes down. Horsemen of the Ruckus are holding.
Ancient is about to blow.
Buyback from the Lifestealer. Lone Druid buys back. He's going right for Throne. Throne is undertaking a lot of damage. Bear goes down once again. If they hold right now, that could be a game for Horsemen of the Ruckus. However,
Attack.
their Tev 4s are both down. We've got 4 catapults hanging out in the middle and top lane. They need someone to take care of these catapults right now before they die to the creep aggro. They don't have fortification. kin.killa is doing damage to those catapults. They have to kill those catapults before they bring down the base. Great defensive play.
Because the tailballs are now down, it's almost impossible for our horsemen to come back.
Yeah, especially with the Boots of Travel pickup over on Lone Druid. If that Luna picks up Boots of Travel, if the rest of the Radiant team pick up Boots of Travel, it's now impossible for the DICE side to make a comeback fight unless they do a 5-man wipe, and none of them have buybacks. No real way for them to come back. However, they're making TYK work for it. They're gritting their teeth, they're digging in their heels, they're making them fight for it. Sweat, blood, and tears. Every inch of the land they take in, they're making them pay. Great play coming out from 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus. Gem.
Smoke and count because the creeps are constantly pushing it towards their throne. They have to keep defending it, and then if the creeps are coming in and no one's defending it, it's very obvious that they're smoking.
That's also true. It's completely shut down the ability to react. Looks like the...
They can't afford to take hits on the throne.
Yeah, the throne's taking a lot of damage right now. That actually could be a game right now. What is Gats doing? Gats, go defend your throne. Gats, please. What the hell are you doing? He's running in. He's drawing some creep fire. Ancients are taking... Yeah, what happened there? Did they get a rotation?
I was watching the throne.
Yeah, so was I. Looks like Lifestealer's actually going to go for Heaven's Halberd. Huge creep wave pushing up to the tier 4 again. Venomancer is pretty much on defense duty, making sure nothing bad could happen. Mirana looks like she's going for the butterfly. Viper's picked up Boots of Travels. He knows what's happening. He knows that if there's ever an opportunity for a split push, he could go in, clear out the throne.
That was too far.
Naix overcommitted. Looks like game for Horsemen of the Ruckus. Lion fleeing from the familiars. Never mind. First familiar goes down. Second bird drop. Both bird drops miss. Exorcism thrown out. Moonlight Shadow. UGTFO called out. Hex thrown out. Silence is dropped, but UGTFO is finding a dangerous game. kin.killa runs in, trying to draw fire for the rest of his team. He's caught out by that Grave Shield. Eats that Mana Burn to the face. That does so much damage. Disjoints the Soul Assumption with the Cyclone. 3-man Impale coming out from Lion, but he goes down to the sheer amount of damage coming out. This could be game for Horsemen of the Ruckus. They fought long, they fought hard.
Anyway, they're gonna stop this now.
Yeah, there's nothing they could do right now, even with buybacks.
I think that team.
Yeah. 56 minutes, very long game. Horsemen of the Ruckus really showing off how good they are when playing from behind.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with the Lone Druid there.
Yeah, Lone Druid really justifying the fact why he was respect banned. GG called out by the captain. 56 minutes and 30 seconds in. TYK take game 2 against 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus. That's a second draw I've seen tonight. Group 2, Group of Death, really proving up to be its name. I'm 49, and I guess I'll be signing off. I think Horsemen of the Ruckus are playing against Psychos right next after this series. I'm not too sure if I'll actually be casting that. It's about like 8:30, but nonetheless, I'll be uploading the VODs tomorrow. And yeah, that's 49 signing off. Thanks for co-casting with me, Yoshi.
No problem.
Alrighty, you have a good one.